Hundreds of miles separate eastern North Carolina and the North Carolina mountains. People in the east and on the coast know what it's like to live through a hurricane.
They do. Usually they're the ones receiving the disaster relief, but now they're the ones who are providing it. WRAL's Heidi Kirk traveled from Wayne County to Ashe County with a group that's stepping up to help.
A hangar full of supplies in Ashe County, delivered to the airport by pilots across the country. It's where we met Brad Thayer, a volunteer helping to unload.
The needs board is updated every day, and it's all communicated throughout the county and all the drop zones. Today's need list is right here.
Supplies like blankets, heaters, and laundry detergent, the most needed right now. It's something Christina Sargent is keeping up with. We flew west with Sargent's company, Fairwinds Aviation, a flight training center in Wayne County.
I've never been in this situation before, and I'm very proud to be a part of the community that was able to do this.
Sargent's taken 2 to 3 trips a day for over a week now. In total, the group has moved about 90,000 pounds of supplies into the region.
Now, the airport here in Ashe County is one of several locations where they're doing these supply drop-offs. Now, within just minutes, this entire aircraft was unloaded. The supplies were taken to a facility and then distributed to the hardest hit communities.
Pilot Bob Engel says the trips aren't easy, flying through mountainous terrain and navigating tough weather. But there's a reason they've stepped up from the east to help out.
Eastern North Carolina particularly gets hurricanes, and they usually are on the receiving end of aid and pouring out. And I think because of that, this county and Eastern North Carolina, when they saw their western brethren in trouble, they're like, we need to do something.
While they're used to navigating the air, the emotional toll isn't easy.
The hardest moment for me was we went to Gatlinburg, and while I was in Gatlinburg, I got an updated list of what was needed, and body bags was on it.
But they won't stop. Even as the roads open and air travel is no longer the most effective way to bring supplies, they'll transition and keep heeding the call for help. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, Wayne County.
Her heart must have just sunk when she saw that body bags.
I know.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Important work that they are doing. And hey, we want to get you a better idea of just how huge the relief response has been from the aviation community. These are pictures from the group Hurricane Helene Airlift Relief. It's one of many posting and organizing online. They worked with United Carolina Cavalry and Carolina Aviators Network. All are volunteers. They flew items from Statesville to Western North Carolina.
Operation Airdrop. They have 3,000 pilots in this group. Some came from as far away as Oregon to help out. They delivered 1.2 million pounds of relief, and they performed more than 400 rescues. They operated everything from an airport in Concord. They had contacts at drop locations in Western North Carolina waiting to receive and distribute. These are very kind of complicated operations they can be. Operation Airdrop has done this work for years, though. But their executive director told us communication was really a big hurdle this time around.
Well, he told us as well that Senator Ted Budd helped them get hundreds of Starlinks so that they could stay in touch and let people living there do the same.
In today's day and age, I was so surprised to see that beyond just food and water, that simple contact was a absolute need for these people, and it made such a difference in their lives. We were able to drop off another several hundred in different isolated communities to let them continue reaching out for help and communicating with the outside world.
It's been one of the biggest eye-openers of this whole thing,
Yes.
don't you think? People have been doing anything they could to get help. Clark told us people were spray painting X's on the ground to get the attention of pilots.
Imagine being that desperate. Some of you might remember this video here of a man using a mirror to draw attention to himself. This was retired NASCAR driver Greg Biffle, who was flying, who was the one who saw him and helped out. Biffle was among the pilots flying for Operation Airdrop. Just one of the many rescues and reunions that these people helped to facilitate. Clark shared the story of another pilot who rescued a couple and their baby.
He was doing a helicopter mission, and he landed in this little field tiny little field and found a mother and her 4-month-old daughter, and were able to evacuate them to a safe location down the mountain. So we've got just a ton of stories like that we are just so thankful to be able to help out with and hear.
And that's what keeps them going, right? Because, of course, this is dangerous work, flying into a disaster area with little communication. Pilots flying rescue missions often aren't sure where they will land. In fact, there have been at least 30 close calls in the region since the relief effort began.
It's easy to see why. The FAA reported air traffic in Western North Carolina has increased big time, about 300%. I want to step away and take you to the big monitor. Come with me for a moment. So this gives us kind of an idea of the increase that we have seen on some of these graphs. So FlightAware tracks this kind of stuff, and this graph shows the number of flights going in and out of the Asheville Regional Airport every day over the last couple of years. I want you to focus on the blue line that we have circled there. That is the spike right there. In the last week, the Asheville Airport averaged 257 flights a day. This spike is even more dramatic when you look at some of the smaller airports. Another graph, this one from Ashe County, a lot different, right? This place usually gets 5, maybe 6 flights per day this time of year. In the last week, this mark at the top is 157 flights roughly a day. That's all the relief flying in, the troops, the first responders, volunteer groups, the ones that we've been telling you about here. We saw similar spikes in all those smaller areas, Avery, Rutherford, Macon, Jackson counties, as well as Morganton. You can see those giant spikes on all of their air traffic. They saw anywhere from 100 to 2,000% increases in the amount of air traffic there.
Just incredible. A lot of these groups are now handing things off to the troops. Many roads are back open and the military can just keep things rolling. The folks with Operation Airdrop and others are volunteers. Of course, they have to go back to work. But for the last week and a half of flying supplies to people who desperately need it, they have our thanks.